covalent Lewis structures. Here's electrons being shared. When you have a nonmetal reacting with a nonmetal, neither of them wants to be a positive ion. Nobody wants to give up their electrons. And so they form a compound by sharing electrons. It's a molecular compound. And so what we do in Lewis theory is we represent the covalent bonding as neighboring atoms sharing some of their valence electrons in order to get an octet. So let's look at hydrogen and oxygen. So hydrogen has one electron, and it's the valence electron, and oxygen has 6 valence electrons. So oxygen wants to gain an electron. Hydrogen doesn't want to lose an electron. So what are we going to do? We're going to share. When two people want the same thing, hopefully you can figure out a way to share. So they're going to share those electrons. If they're sharing the electrons, they both get to use them. So hydrogen counts both of these as belonging to her. And oxygen counts both of those. So now the hydrogen has 2 electrons. Duet rule says hydrogen's trying to get 2 electrons, so the hydrogen's good. Oxygen now has 2, 4, 6, 7. Closer, but not quite. Well, bring in another hydrogen atom. Here's another hydrogen atom with 1 electron, also looking to either transfer or share. Here they're going to share. So this hydrogen counts both of these electrons that are shared, and the oxygen can count them as well. So the oxygen counts 2, 4, 6, 8. Octet. Happy oxygen. Any questions? There are bonding pairs and lone pairs. So I'm going to draw that structure again. Usually we don't draw dots connected by lines, we just draw a line to represent that covalent bond. And then oxygen has these other electrons, valence electrons, that are just sitting there. So the electrons in here, I'm going to put the dots here because that helps you to see what's going on. That line is 2 electrons. Hydrogen has 1, oxygen has 1, they're sharing them. And so that's a bonding pair. Oops. That was a little too dramatic. That's a bonding pair, and this is a bonding pair of electrons. A non-bonding pair, or a lone pair, are these guys over here. They're not part of a bond. They're not being shared with anyone. So these are the lone pairs. So we often represent these bonding pairs as just a single line, but we understand that it's 2 electrons. We connected the dots. So we've talked about the 7 diatomic elements, and Lewis theory explains why they do this. So let's look at bromine very quickly. I know we're running out of time. So here's bromine. Bromine has 7 valence electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Bromine is not happy by herself. Here's another bromine atom. 7 valence electrons, not happy. Neither wants to transfer an electron to the other, but they can get together and share. And now they both have 8 electrons. This is why bromine atoms, when they're out, not in a bond in a compound with something else, are always Br2. Fluorine, chlorine, iodine also all have 7 valence electrons, and they do exactly the same thing. Hydrogen has 1 valence electron. So you get 2 hydrogen atoms together, they can share their electrons. Now they have a duet. They're also happy. Any questions?